Alaska, our magnificent Northland, is our last frontier. It's about 1/5 the size of the United States, but it covers almost as much in latitude and longitude. 3/4 of Alaska is in the North Temperate Zone. 1/4 lies north of the Arctic Circle. Due to its size and geographic location, climatic conditions in different parts of the territory are extreme. But surprisingly, the climate of southeast Alaska is much milder than that of other well-known points at the same latitude. It's also an interesting fact that Glasgow, Scotland is considerably north of Alaska's southern tip. The latitude at Juneau, Oslo, Stockholm, and Helsinki is about the same, but Juneau, Alaska never gets as cold as Helsinki. Moscow's severe winter weather played a major role in the defeat of Napoleon's armies. But at Ketchikan, Alaska, just as far north, the January temperature average is 33 degrees above zero. And the June temperature average is above 57 degrees. For southeast Alaska's climate is tempered by the Japan Current, making it similar to that of Puget Sound. Remnants of the Ice Age may still be found in Alaska's coastal mountain range, but all Alaska coastal waters are navigable throughout the year, and their annual salmon yield is worth $100 million. In southeast Alaska's Tongass National Forest, there are billions of board feet of western hemlock and Sitka spruce, and mysterious carvings of cedar, the totem poles of the natives. Wild creatures inhabit the Tongass forest, which grows in tropical density, and Tongass streams still tempt the prospector with their lure of gold. The Tongass National Forest also has a spot for those who follow conventional occupations, and its family gardens produce in abundance. Southeast Alaska's mild climate also favors the luxuriant growth of wildflowers in endless profusion and as colorful as the Alaskan sunset. Southeast Alaska is about 350 miles long and 150 miles wide. The principal towns are Skagway, Juneau, Sitka, Petersburg, Wrangell, and Ketchikan. Ketchikan is the salmon capital of the world. It is but 3 hours from Seattle by air, 2 days by steamer. Even the largest ocean-going vessels can dock at Ketchikan, and it's the home port for a greater part of southeast Alaska's famous fishing fleet. Southeast Alaska is served the year round by Canadian and American steamship lines, and almost every day during summer there's a liner in every port, besides the countless smaller vessels which serve southeast Alaska's principal industry. Although 90% of Alaska's commercial fish is salmon, Alaska black cod is also famous, and even in off years, over 5 million pounds of black cod or sablefish is frozen for export. This product of Alaska's icy waters goes to market under refrigeration. As familiar as the fishing boat is the pontoon-equipped airplane. In Alaska, the per capita use of airplanes is 70 times that in the United States. And the demand by air-minded Alaskans for air service from Seattle resulted in the construction of a modern airfield at Juneau, as well as at Anchorage, Fairbanks, and near Ketchikan. Its strategic location has established Alaska as one of the important crossroads of world flights. But long before the coming of the clipper ship, Alaskans had literally taken to the clouds. And today, faraway places no longer exist, thanks to the excellent air service which has been developed within the territory. The city of Juneau, Alaska's capital, sits at the foot of towering Mount Roberts on the east shore of Gastineau Channel. Douglas is on the western shore. Juneau occupies all available building space from Tidewater to straight up. In 1880, gold was found in nearby Silver Bow Basin. Joe Juneau and Dick Harris made the discovery. Alaska's capital, formerly Harrisburg, was built on gold and renamed in honor of Joe Juneau. Juneau is the trading center for miners, trappers, fishermen, and lumbermen in the large surrounding district. The topography of southeast Alaska towns varies from flat to vertical, and totem poles of a primitive people share space with telephone poles or stand guard at the doorway of Main Street business establishments. These carvings of cedar are major tourist attractions and are to be found only on the northwest coast, mostly in British Columbia and Alaska. No other people in the whole world carved such totem poles. But just what are these mysterious symbols? From The Totem Pole by Dr. E. Van Note, we quote, "Monument, mystical, awesome, and ghoulish. Seemingly purposeless, paganish, foolish. What is the message your symbols conceal? Strong the incentive of him that conceived thee, leaving to adept its truth to reveal." And totem symbols can be deciphered, for there is nothing hidden in a totem pole that cannot be revealed through patience and study. But totem poles cannot be read in the strict sense of the word. Totem poles contain nothing more or less than a system of memory devices in sequence, which will recall a story if one already knows it. Totem poles are like the illustrations from books, which make them easy to decipher if one knows how. Southeast Alaska's Tongass National Forest has many scenic and recreational features, and Alaskans never tire of the restful silence of the great open spaces. In summertime, there's bathing on sandy beaches where forest-clad mountains rise dramatically from the sea. And for young Alaskans, there's plenty of space to play and space to swing wide and swing high, higher even than the mountains. In Alaska, there's fun for everyone, for Alaskans have the spot for everything, including the well-known trademark of a large Southern California city. And wouldn't the Angelinos just love to have this pile of ice in their own front yard? Besides being a scenic attraction, Mendenhall Glacier, a few miles from Juneau, is the source of supply for an enterprising Juneau iceman. During summer months, Mendenhall Lake is navigable, making possible the procurement of a select product aged for centuries. There's no artificial ice of greater purity than that which comes from Mendenhall. Nor are there diamonds more brilliant. It tastes good, too, better than a popsicle. There are many iceberg-producing glaciers within the Tongass, but the two glaciers at the head of Tracy Arm may very well be the champions. The North and South Sawyer glaciers produce icebergs by the thousand, many of which are gorgeously colored jewels, exquisite playthings of the sun and the winds and the tides, returning now to freedom in the sea, from age-long imprisonment in a glacier's frozen heart. But majestic Mendenhall has 1,000 times as many callers as the spectacular Sawyers, for it is on an excellent highway, open the year round, and with the ending of autumn, Mendenhall Lake becomes a skater's paradise in a winter wonderland. It is possible that at one time the face of Mendenhall was reflected in the blue waters of the Pacific. Now it's 4 miles inland. Southeast Alaska's glaciers are receding, and today part of Mendenhall's ancient bed is farmland. The grasses and hay which grow in the soil created by the glacial action help feed a good-sized dairy herd. So Juneauites should be grateful to Mendenhall Glacier, not only for inspiration and recreation and excellent ice, but also for part of their milk supply. Over 16 million acres in southeast Alaska are within the boundaries of the Tongass National Forest, now being developed by the United States Forest Service under policies and methods which ensure continuous productivity so that it may help build and support well-rounded, stable communities. 1/4 of the timber is Sitka spruce. Most of the remainder is western hemlock. And the estimated amount of timber in the Tongass forest is almost 80 billion board feet. In some logging areas, it's easier to take the mill to the timber than timber to the mill. This portable mill is sawing spruce for the manufacture of packing cases required by Alaska's frozen fish industry. The Alaska frozen fish industry consumes hundreds of thousands of wooden packing cases annually. 75% of the commercial timber in the Tongass is within 2½ miles of Tidewater, and some saw log tracts average 60,000 to 70,000 board feet. Tongass National Forest provides enough spruce to meet most of the sawmill requirements in southeast Alaska, and spruce lumber is in great demand in Alaska as well as outside. Alaska red cedar shingles also come from the Tongass, a product of picturesque shingle mills in picturesque coastal towns. And as for newsprint, there's enough pulp timber in the Tongass National Forest and enough water power to manufacture 1 million tons annually forever. Southeast Alaska is a good place for fish, and commercial fishing now is by far the most important industry in the region. Salmon spend the greater part of their lives in the ocean, but when the time comes to spawn and die, they return to the particular freshwater stream in which they were born and where they spent their fingerling days. Cascades and waterfalls are not the only hazards encountered on the salmon's journey home. But the bears should have priority fishing rights, for they have fished Alaska's spawning streams for centuries. And besides, how could any devoted mother in the midst of plenty allow herself or her child to go hungry? Salmon are fun and food for people, too. So the Golden North Salmon Derby at Juneau, Alaska is sponsored annually by territorial sportsmen. The Derby is held in July, and Derby days are thrilling days at Auk Bay and Tea Harbor. For the contest attracts fishermen from Yazoo and Yakult to Topeka and Tampa, and Alaskans from the farthest corners of the territory. A Derby day starts at 7 in the morning and ends at 5 in the evening. The Golden North Salmon Derby runs for 3 days. Each contestant pays an entry fee. The use of sports salmon gear is required, and all salmon must be caught with rod and reel. Each boat is registered and examined at the judge's stand before going out to fish, but any type of boat may be used. Every boat must have at least 2 persons on board while fishing, and the contestant must bring his fish to side of boat unaided. Now that we know the rules, let's catch ourselves a few salmon. This one may not be a record breaker, but it was lots of fun anyway. And here's another one that didn't get away. But this one might, and if it does, it would have taken first prize. Now, let's see how Wellman Holbrook, the old expert, handles a bent pole. There must be a fish on. A waterlogged boot doesn't act this way. Try it again, Wellman. Let's see what it is. Yep, it's a salmon, all right. A nice, shiny one. And he looks like he wants to give up. Almost give up, that is. This technique should show Mr. Fish which end of the line the boss is on. It worked okay, and soon the salmon will be riding with Wellman. So let's go back to Tea Harbor. Checking in hour at the weighing stations is a rush time for the judges, for all boats must be checked in within the designated fishing hours, and all contestants are eager to find out what luck the other fellows had. All salmon entered in competition are weighed round, and many will weigh over 50 pounds. The contestant must furnish one reliable witness who observed the catch and the tackle used, and some catches take a lot of observing, especially the double ones. Whoops! All fish entered in competition become the property of the Territorial Sportsmen Incorporated and are sold. The proceeds go into a scholarship fund for courses in conservation activities. Commercial salmon fishing in Alaska is also a thrilling activity and provides employment for more than 20,000 workers each year. Most salmon are caught in gill nets, purse seines, or in traps such as this. Traps are strategically located in salmon passageways along the shores, and cannery tenders remove the trapped fish for transfer to a centrally located cannery. This operation is called brailing. Salmon have so many natural enemies, it seems a miracle that any survive to grow to maturity. But millions do. Although Alaska's annual salmon catch is almost 100 million fish, to ensure perpetuation of this valuable crop, at least equal numbers must be allowed to escape. With today's modern equipment, there would be great danger of overfishing were it not for federal protection. And the protection of Alaska's silver millions is one of the most important jobs of the Alaska Fish and Wildlife Service. The fisheries of Alaska are the backbone of the territory's economy with regard to permanent value, employment, and taxable wealth. Over 50% of the revenue collected by the territorial government comes from this industry. For many, the harvest of Alaska's silver millions offers all the thrills of the gold rush days, days which now are but memories, while this activity and others of permanent value remain. Although our magnificent Northland has, in many ways, kept pace with modern progress, it still has vast wilderness areas and natural resources. Alaska is the land of opportunity and holds an inspirational appeal for all.